week, and I would almost say most important few months in US politics in 30 or 40 years. And the reason is that it starts to converge a bunch of things together that I think are really worth putting on the table. So from my perspective, I think what President Trump has done is almost single-handedly bring back the United States as the global superpower. And I would put that in all caps. So what does it mean to be a superpower? I've said this several times, but just to be slightly redundant, in order to be a superpower, I think you need to have three things, but they work in a hierarchy. The first is that you need to have technical supremacy. And then from that technological supremacy, you need to establish and project economic supremacy and military supremacy. So if you look at the first one, you saw a tactical demonstration of technological supremacy with the B-2 bombers. But taking a more general step back, if you look at the largest companies in the world, who are the ones, and when the line was crossed, and look, I think the CNNs of the world want to debate that the line wasn't crossed. All I can tell you is I don't know because I don't have access to the intel. I believe what he and Tulsi Gabbard and JD Vance and Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth are saying is that they crossed the line, and then he showed that he will use decisive military force when that happens. But then here's what's crazy, and this is where I think you become a real superpower. It's what happens after. Once you cross the line, you notice that he doesn't try to humiliate or dominate Iran. He tells Iran that he wants them to stabilize themselves. He told them that he wants to see them trading oil with China. He wants to see them improving the lives of their people because he realizes that a stable Iran is a stable Middle East. So, and the money people that want to be in control know how to run candidates on platforms that can win. And this is a clear winning strategy in left-leaning major metropolitan centers. So what I would say, just to refine what you guys are saying, is that this platform is not new. I've seen it for the last decade. I think you're going to see it for the next few decades. It doesn't work. And so you're going to see the same results in New York City that you've already seen in London, which has become unlivable, sadly, one of my favorite cities in the world. If you don't believe it, go visit there. Chicago, which I haven't been to, in Windows theory of policing reemerge as the cause célèbre, and the cycle will repeat itself. So I tend to think that these things are just between two poles. We've spent a lot of time in this more independent self-reliance pole. A lot of people will want to experiment with this other thing. It just doesn't prove to work. And in the absence of something cataclysmically bad, I don't think it's going to change. So
having lived there and experienced Dinkins and, Koch to Dinkins and then Giuliani to Bloomberg, I can tell you it's going to be really fucking miserable to be in a Dinkins era. The city was chaos. It was dangerous. If you got off the wrong subway stop, it was going to result in you getting robbed.
Yeah.
At gunpoint.
They're going to have to go through. They're going to have to go through that.
That's London today. The London subway costs $35 to go from the suburbs of London into the center of London. 35. Why is that? The first chart I want to show you is the velocity of money. So what is this? This is the M2 money supply. It's a measure of how much money is circulating in the economy. What this shows is the impact of rates, where we were able to start to slow down and contract the money supply. But then as you saw, as the economy stabilized and people started to project what's possible in 18 to 24 months, you started to see money coming back into the system. That's what has given a bid to the equity markets. That's great because a percentage of this capital gets allocated into things that can generate a superior return to money markets. And that's where the bid to the equity market came from. So you would say, well, where does it go from here? The next chart, Nick, if you just give the second one, is look at how much money, and again, you can just look at the last 5 years, look at how much money is sitting in money market funds. And what this starts to show you is you have trillions and trillions of dollars of dry powder of economic data that came out. The GDP print for Q1 came in at minus 0.5%. I mean, so how could anybody interpret
for Q1?
So how could anybody at the Fed or in the media covering the Fed not understand that, by the way, when we were talking about this, just like I said that we're probably going to print like a 3 handle on GDP in Q2, we also talked about the fact that we were probably going to have a negative GDP print in Q1. So we've been knowing it for months. We've basically been calling it right. So why is there an inability to just look at the data and just say the obvious, truthful thing? So
I think
whatever you think of Trump, it doesn't really matter. Rates should not be where they are today. They should be 50 to 100 basis points lower.
Final point on this is I think it's very important that we end up with a sensible fair use definition, like the one the judges come up with in this Anthropic case, because otherwise we will lose the AI race to China. The fact of the matter is China's not going to care about American copyright policy. They are going to train on every scrap of data that's available to them on the internet. Apparently they use a pirated book archive called LibGen. And so, they're not going to abide by copyright laws at all. And if we don't allow our AI models to, again, have a sensible fair use definition that allows them to train but not violate an output, then we will lose to Chinese AI models because they'll have
2 things. 1, how you can win this case as a content company. And then 2, I'm going to give how the large language models can importantly win the AI race and actually not destroy the business on which they are built on. These language models have nothing without the content creators and the authors of these books, of which I am one. They need us. And so they should want to pay us. They should want us to be compensated because that will keep us more competitive than China, which will just steal it in one time. So here's how you win if you're a publisher. All you have to do is Disney, which is suing Midjourney right now for obvious copyright violations on the output in my interpretation. All you have to do is do a Marvel Me. Make yourself. This would allow them to have a competitive advantage versus Anthropic and Apple's and whoever's. And this will become a massive competitive advantage for the language models, just like cable channels might, or Hulu might feature Disney Plus or FX or whatever stations or content it is. Whoever does this first on the other side will make a tremendous amount of money because they will have access to all that data and the output. So you can make your kids a t-shirt or a birthday invitation, using the Star Wars characters. That's the easy way for us to win as Americans by respecting content creators and paying them money so they can reinvest. The amount of money we're talking about here is de minimis for the tech industry. These companies are going to be worth
30% of revenue and the company's losing tons of money.
Yeah, that's their problem. That's not Sachs.
Okay,
that's their
Is it the right price? We have no idea. But we did it so that we could be a part of the conversation and shape how these deals get done for content creators. But Sachs is right. Like, if you think about what is the ultimate output, the output, if you look at how a transformer behaves, it's impossible to say that it's copying the input. It's just not how it works. And so I don't know what else to do.
Turned into math.
Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Support the channel by liking this video, subscribing, and enabling post notifications for more content on crypto and digital assets. Check out our other videos and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your engagement helps with the YouTube algorithm and keeps the content coming. Thanks for your support. Enjoy the video.